You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. You can follow me on Twitter at Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Always subscribe on YouTube. And thanks to those who make Locked On Packers their first listen of the day. We love starting our mornings with you. We have Lily Zhao on the program today. Zhao, you doing? We always do this on Wednesday, even on the bye week. We could not let this opportunity pass to talk about what was a terrific, entertaining, compelling game here on Sunday, but there's still, we have to push it forward. We still are going to have to, think about what else is going on, because the Packers did have some news, unfortunately, in this case, because De'Vondre Campbell landed on the COVID list. And, first and foremost, and I don't feel like I need to say this, but I need to say this because people will get mad otherwise. The concern trolls will be after me. Of course, my first priority with any injury, but especially with something like this virus, is I want these guys to be okay. I want them to be healthy. I want them to not end up in the hospital, which has happened, by the way, to NFL players, people who have had really bad reactions to it. And we have the new variant, all that stuff. This is not epidemiology hour. So let's start there. We hope De'Vondre Campbell is back. He's healthy and does not have any ill effects from COVID. A lot of athletes have come back and had real issues as a result, lingering issues, respiratory issues. And this is the stretch where all of this stuff matters a little bit more. From a practical standpoint, we don't know at this point, as of recording, his vaccination status. And because the Packers are on a bye, they don't actually have to tell us. And unless it leaks, we won't know. Now, we may get a hint next week if he's not practicing. So remember, the deal is vaccinated players, they can come back when they have 2 negative tests. Unvaccinated players, it's 10 days, irrespective of those tests. And if that seems weird, it is, because there have been players in the league this year who have been vaccinated and have actually been out longer because they didn't get those 2 negative tests. And the people who were unvaccinated got to come back faster. Does that make sense? No, absolutely not. That was put in place as an incentive to get vaccinated. And I don't think they thought about the bang-on consequences. But I think they did it so that you could say, okay, well, you could come back sooner. What they should have done is also capped it. But that's neither here nor there. The fact that if he is unvaccinated, there is then this 10-day window, just like Aaron Rodgers, would get him back in time to be available to play against the Chicago Bears coming out of the bye week. The bye week saves Campbell almost no matter what, because it would have been pretty tough, even vaccinated, if he were, to come back in time to play on Sunday if they needed to. So if this had happened a week ago, there's a real chance that he would have missed the game against the Rams. And I don't have to tell you, that would be suboptimal, right? This has been a player who has been revelatory. He has been truly a difference maker, a field tilter, a Pro Bowl caliber player for the Packers this season, and has been a godsend to this defense. It is a reminder of the lengths to which luck is required in an NFL season. This could have been the difference. I mean, very truly, he has been so good. This could have been the difference between winning and losing a game. But the fact that it happens on the bye week means that the Packers don't have to worry about that in all likelihood. Aaron Rodgers was asked about this a couple weeks ago. Unvaccinated players could still be close contacts, and then they have to be out. Allen Lazard was a close contact of Davante Adams. He had to sit. And it's the wintertime. We could be getting more surges. All these players, their statuses become more important, not because I care about their medical records, not because of HIPAA, which, by the way, no one uses right, at least not on Twitter. It's because the decisions that were made can affect playing status. If Aaron Rodgers misses a game in December, January, that's a lot bigger deal than if he misses one in October. So he is not going to be positive. Luckily, Jordan Love, vaccinated, had COVID. Kurt Benkert, COVID. So in the QB room, at least, the guys that they're in the meeting rooms with every day, he's not going to be a close contact there, but could be somewhere else. Could be a Matt LaFleur or Nathaniel Hackett or Luke Getsy. All of that stuff. This is a reminder that this is all tenuous. That there is this luck that is required. They say that they've been diligent about the protocols. I believe them to a point. These players, whatever decisions were made, they've been made. Now they can be undone. If you're unvaccinated, you can go get the shot. But their availability is potentially in question here. Now, Rodgers benefits from the testing protocols and he's not going to get tested for a while. Still can be a close contact. Same thing with De'Vondre Campbell or any other player who is unvaccinated. So again, we don't know what the status of Campbell is, but this is a reminder that this is a real thing that is still looming over the season and could still very much affect the outcome of the season. And what a shame it would be if a player, vaccinated or unvaccinated, this is not even a value judgment on that, if they had to miss a crucial game because of the virus, because of something that, they don't really have control over, even if they've taken every precaution, whether it's the daily testing as an unvaccinated player or it is the vaccination itself. I wish we could just stop talking about it and just talk about football, or even talk about Aaron Rodgers drama or Davante Adams contract situation. Like, I would much rather talk about that, or people, mad at Mark Murphy or Brian Gutekunst, whatever. I mean, I would much rather talk about that than this. Luckily for Green Bay, this is not going to impact, in all likelihood, a game. Does that mean that they're out of the woods on this? No way. No way. We still have to be vigilant as observers, as fans, as media, of what is happening on this team. And again, this is not about scapegoating people or status, whatever. That part of it, again, people have made their choices. You know how I feel about this. I respect that people have a choice. I don't always respect the choice or the way that these things are handled. That's not the point. And I know there are going to be some people who go, well, keep the same energy for Devondre that you had for Aaron Rodgers. You're just an Aaron Rodgers guy, and you're going to go after him, and that's why you went so hard. No. I went after Aaron Rodgers because of the way he handled it. Now, I also think a quarterback, it's different just because of the way they affect the game. I think as a leader, all of that stuff, that was more about the way it was handled and then the follow-up than the actual decision. Because you may recall, I did not kill Allen Lazard for what happened with him. Was it unfortunate? Yes. There were some people who were like, cut him. I don't think that is an appropriate response. But it is a reminder that these decisions have consequences. All decisions do. And we have to be cognizant of those consequences. Say that 10 times fast. So that's why we have to continue to talk about it. If you're going to get it, and again, hopefully he's okay, now is the time to do it. But again, that doesn't matter. It only matters positive test-wise moving forward, that he's not going to get tested. Anyone could be a close contact. That is still on the table, and that is still something that could swing a playoff game, that could swing a game in December. And that sucks. I mean, that's the reality. That sucks. So all the politics, whatever you want to call it, aside, this is still something that the team, the NFL, and all of us are having to deal with. That sucks too. Everyone wishes we were through this. No one is like, hey, this is great, let's stay here forever. No. I mean, I like work from home. I get to spend more time with my son and my wife, but it would be great if I could do that and not have this thing hanging over all of us. So again, I'm not lecturing anybody on the choices that they've made. I'm not hating on anybody. I'm not attacking anybody. Relax. But this could have real world impact on the Packers, the team that I cover and the team that you presumably cheer for. Unless you're one of those hate listening Bears fans, which, by the way, there are some. And shout out to you guys. Truly, shout out to you guys. All right, we'll get to Lily Zhao in a second. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Bet Online. Bet Online has you covered all season with more odds, props, and lines than ever before as football season continues to march toward the playoffs. Bet Online remains your #1 spot for all your sports action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON to get that bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right down to your favorite Las Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, the streak is back again. Lily Zhao joining us from Fox 6 in Milwaukee off a triumphant performance by the Green Bay Packers against the LA Rams in a beautiful, not frigid setting, but still, it was football weather for sure. We had snow in Green Bay that weekend, a terrific setting for an NFC showdown. Lily, how you doing?
Hey, Peter, doing well. Being there out in the elements, it was not as cold as I was expecting, which is good for me because, I've been in the Midwest basically my entire life and I'm still not used to it, but I'm sure it was probably just not the warmest welcome the Rams could have envisioned weather-wise and on the field. But it's going good. Glad the win streak is going to keep piling on here. And how you doing?
I'm good. For those of us not watching on YouTube, first of all, why? Second of all, you're missing Lily's coat, which is, first of all, awesome. But second of all, she is in fact indoors, presumably with the heat on, and yet with the coat. So I think that gives you a little bit of a sample into the mindset. She goes to Florida for 4 years, and this is what happens. Your bad in and out takes we're going to get to later, just so you know. Speaking of Midwest things, so. This Packers team, I expected them to beat the Rams on Sunday. I didn't expect them to do it as convincingly as they did, with the final score not really showing how in control of the game that they were really from the start. I mean, that was not at all what I expected, even if I expected Green Bay to win.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I felt. And, outside of that early touchdown to Van Jefferson that Matthew Stafford threw, I honestly there was this feeling, I was like, the Rams were never really in it. I mean, yeah, the score was closer than it should have been, but it was just never a game that I thought, man, this Rams team could come back. Last week it was a different story against the Vikings. Like, oh man, they actually took control. But this week it's, we've talked about, or, the pundits have talked about this dream team. They're all in with their star players, but they come to Lambeau and it was basically just domination by the Packers. And like Aaron Rodgers said, it should have been a 40-plus game. They still left a lot out there on the field. And, we talk about this every week that they still haven't played the perfect game, but I think they're building up to being able to do that. But I think the showing they had against the Rams, the special teams did something good. Defense played really well. The offense could get better. I mean, that's kind of what you want to keep building on to as we enter kind of the final month here.
We were talking yesterday on the show about, and I will cop to this, and I did on the show, that I have been sort of too invested in what this team could be with David Bakhtiari back, with Jair Alexander back, and have not appreciated how good they are right now. And I think this was the game that made me stop and go, wait, this team is 9-3. They haven't had their all-pro left tackle all season. They haven't had their all-pro, Pro Bowl edge, whatever you want to say, most of the season, and they haven't had their number one corner, one of the three best corners in the league all season. I don't think we are enjoying it enough as Packer fans, as media people, just as like this team. These are rare opportunities, and I want us to take that second and just be like, hey, this is really cool that what they've been able to do. Let's celebrate that part of it with the understanding that there's more work to do.
Exactly. And, even Aaron Rodgers has said it multiple times. He's like, I don't think when people were looking at the caliber of teams that we were playing, that we would be 9-3 at this point. I mean, they swept the entire NFC West, which was a division.
Right.
I think a lot of people earlier on were going to say, this is going to be the toughest division in all of the NFL. And they went 4-0, and it's been really impressive. And I just think with the quality of guys that they have had, and let me just be the first person to say, I did not expect this offensive line to only give up 1 sack for 0 yards against Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and company. And they have played extremely well. But like you said, we need to appreciate the product that they've been putting on the field every single week. And it's been a good product. And I don't want to keep talking about the special teams, Mason Crosby, because we love him. But this team could potentially be at 10, 11 wins. I mean, you don't know. It's just something fun to see that this team has been playing so well with the guys that they have, with so many Pro Bowl guys still injured.
That 1 sack too was, as Aaron Rodgers pointed out after the game, not a real sack because it was a scramble. He stepped up, and when you get a 0-yard scramble, it goes down as a sack. He insists that's not a sack. Defensively, Joe Barry was captured in the tunnel with some elated expletives. This was a game that I think clearly meant a lot to him. What do you think the impact that he has had has been? Is it on the field? Do you think it is more in the energy? Because we haven't, and I was saying this on Twitter, we have not had one of those games with the defense since week one. Week one was weird in a lot of ways. Since week one, we have not had one of those games where they come out and it's just like, oh, the defense just like doesn't have it today.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, a lot was made of Joe Barry, his history with the Rams. How would that kind of all shake out when the Packers played LA? And, I was kind of around the corner from the tunnel when he was young, and he was yelling, yes, expletive, yes. And who's screaming down the hallway? So I peeked my head around the corner, and it was Joe Barry. He was so fired up, and rightfully so. I mean, listen.
Was that the guy you expected to see?
Yeah, I thought it was somebody defensively, because I'm like, I can't see, like, I don't know, like John Runyon being like, whatever. So like, it's like something on defense, and it was Joe Barry. But back to your point here, I just feel like, the style they've been able to play, and outside of those 2 long touchdowns that they give up over the top, that's going to be something that they're going to have to correct. I mean, they were able to play so well. They were winning up front. They were causing havoc, and those guys in the back end, outside of those 2 touchdowns, were playing so well. But it's just the energy of this group, I think, led by Joe Barry, that has made such a big difference. And it's just such a turnaround to say, oh, there are games that this team can rely on their defense to help them win games. And
it doesn't have to be domination. It doesn't have to be Zadarius Smith against the Vikings 2 years ago, single-handedly winning them the game, or week 1 against the Bears where they had infinity pressures against Mitch Trubisky. It doesn't have to be that. It just has to be a clutch play like Russell Douglas made, a sack fumble here, a stop at the end of the game to cement it. Like, those are the things that they need from this defense. By the way, huge upset. You got through that whole answer without saying juice. The people playing the drinking game are upset, but I just gave them the chance. There you go. There you go. Please be safe out there for those of you that are doing that. If you look around the NFC, the Packers don't play this weekend, so we're going to get a great opportunity to just sit and enjoy a Sunday and a Monday and take it all in. As you look around the NFC, is there a team, because the Packers are 4-0 against the West, as you said, and undefeated against the playoff teams that they have played from the NFC this year, but is there a team, whether they played or not played, that you go, okay, this is the team that I'm most scared of this team?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Let me start here. Do you think the Packers should be afraid of anyone?
I would say no at this point, which is crazy.
Me too.
But you still can't discount Tom Brady in the playoffs. Still can't discount this Cardinals team. They're still very good, even though the Packers did beat them. I think these three teams are, I mean, everyone's going to say, oh, it's Brady, but never can discount the guy. But I would feel like in terms of their body of work, in terms of their, completeness as a team, if that's a word, I feel like the Packers should be the ones that are completeness, cohesiveness. The Packers should be the ones that are the feared, not fearing somebody.
I'm with you. I think for me, the answer would be Tampa, just because of Tom Brady, because of what that defense did last year. But I certainly think they look less scary this year than they did last year. Although this time last year, they didn't look that scary. And they were getting, I think wasn't it week 12 where they got blown up by the Saints? Yeah. And everyone was just sort of like, what is going on? And then they get hot at the end of the year. The funny thing about that is that could be the Packers. They could get hot at the end of the year here. They get David Bakhtiari back. They get Jair Alexander back. What do you think? We've done the who matters the most. So we're not going to play that game. But in terms of things that you think could happen that makes this team better after the bye, whether it's they're getting the run game going or they solidify the offensive line because David Bakhtiari gets back or Jair Alexander, whatever it is, what do you think is the most impactful thing that they can make some improvements on in the second half, although we're past the second half, but in this last stretch here of the regular season?
Another good question. I feel like, the getting healthy is going to be the number one thing is, you have, these key guys, Aaron Rodgers included, and they're banged up. So I think getting them back to semi-full health is going to be the most important thing. But, I even asked Aaron Jones this. I said, what is going to be the key? Because this team hasn't won after a bye in 5 years, I believe. So what is going to be the key? And he said, well, we're back at home, and that's kind of where it starts. It's you want to beat these opponents, especially coming up the Bears. NFC opponent at home, that's kind of where they want to gauge how they're going to be playing the rest of the way with 5 games left. But to answer your question, I feel like if they can get a Jair back, that's going to really fortify that secondary, because when you're looking at this defense, they're opportunistic. They can create havoc up front, but they're just weakest when you go over the top and you beat them. And so if you have a guy like Jair back there to hopefully shore that up, this could be a championship caliber defense. On the offensive side, it's, I think, just the consistency, because we can see them move the ball up and down the 20s, but, against the Rams, they just couldn't punch in a couple times. So being consistent in the red zone for them will be key.
I don't know how to explain the red zone stuff, because as you're saying, they can move the ball seemingly at will, and then in the red zone, it's like, what is going on? I don't know. It's because it's happening on defense too. They're getting stops, or teams are really struggling to move the ball. They're having to convert a bunch of third downs, and then they get in the red zone, and it's like they Jekyll and Hyde it. I don't have a good explanation for it, other than I think there's a lot of small sample size bias. I think there's a lot of luck that goes into that, and then you can just say, okay, well, that worm will turn. We have to talk about this, Lily. Why do you like In-N-Out burgers?
I knew this is where it was going to go. Listen, I just like the flavor of them. I don't know what it is, but when you add the animal style like sauce in there, it's like perfection. I love Culver's. Don't get me wrong. I think
good save.
The perfect meal, like I said on Twitter, would be like an In-N-Out burger with Culver's fries. Like
what's so interesting about that is I know a lot of people who are like, it's the fries that knocks Culver's down. And I think they're wrong. I'm with you. I think the crinkle cuts are delicious.
Yeah, they're amazing. And as much as I love In-N-Out, I mean, their fries, I know they're real and, they taste good animal style, but like the Culver's fries just taste better.
No, the In-N-Out fries are trash. Everyone knows that. If you have to put the animal style dressing on it, then they're not very good. That's just logic. Because it's the same thing with Shake Shack though, because they have the crinkle cuts and people drag the Shake Shack fries, and I don't get it because I also love those.
Yeah, I haven't had Shake Shack in a while, so that's gonna have to be corrected. But Peter, I will say, based off our Twitter exchange, you'll be proud of me. I actually had a butter burger with fries last night.
There we go.
So
there we go. It was one of the places when I was home recently for the game. I had to stop. I actually did not get a burger, but my favorite snack in high school was a chocolate shake and curds, which is just like, now that makes me just like kind of nauseous, but because there's a lot of dairy and I'm old and washed now, but like that was the go-to. And I'm like, I'm hungry, but I don't want to eat. And I think this is going to be another controversial. I think the Culver's chocolate shake is the best chocolate shake on the market. And I love McDonald's shakes, I love all shakes. I think Shake Shack has great shakes, but I think the Culver's chocolate shake it's the best. It's the pinnacle of fast food shakes, in my opinion.
Oh, now I just want one because every time I go to Culver's, I get like the flavor of the day, so I never really get a steak. But I kind of want one now. I have the soda from yesterday still because I'm like a sipper, so I'll maybe milk that. And
did you have a go-to Kroll's order?
Okay, you're also not going to like me here. I have never, sadly, been to Kroll's. I know it's the one place in Green Bay I just never had a chance to get to.
I was just arguing with our mutual friend Rachel Hotmayer the other day about East versus West, and I had to explain my grandma has lived around the corner from Kroll's East for years, and so that was always where we would go, and that was in fact where I ate after the game on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sad we didn't get to see each other, but I will say, okay, tell me the difference between East and West. I'm sure people listening are going to be like, "Come on, you should know this."
Well, one of the differences is size, and then the other is proximity to Lambeau. I mean, Kroll's West is like, you know, right. So that's another of the big differences. I was also with my family, literally in like the parking lot of WLUK. Like,
well, yeah, you're right there. Yeah, Kroll's was packed though on Sunday. Like we drove in, and I was like, "There's probably like 1,000 people in the parking lot right there."
Well, I told you before I came that we were going to have a beer and we didn't get a chance to. So I owe you one or you owe me one. I don't know which way that works, but either way, we're going to make it happen next time we see each other. Lily, yes. We will talk next week. The streak gets to stay intact no matter what, right? We keep the streak because there's no game. You can't lose on the bye week. The Lions are going to try, but the Packers can't. So we'll talk next week. Thanks, Lily.
Love it. Thanks, Peter.
I want to thank Lily for joining the show. Great to talk to her as always. Really bummed that we were not able to connect over the weekend, but we'll make it work soon. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Built Bar. And if you're like me, you ate a lot over the last week, and the more holidays around the corner, regardless of what you celebrate, either you're celebrating now or you've got more to come. Eating is part of the deal. So in between all of that, enjoy yourself. This is the holidays after all. Enjoy yourself. Grab something that tastes delicious, but is also low in calories, low in sugar, low in net carbs, and low in fat. You get the best of all worlds, delicious and healthy. Plus, so many flavors, so much diversity of the kinds of things you're going to get, but of course, all covered in 100% chocolate. You need a little extra fuel. Feeling a little lethargic. The weather's getting cold. It's dark at like 3:30. So you need a little pick-me-up, and you need that thing that's going to fuel your body in a healthy way. You want it to taste good. You want it to taste good, and that is exactly what Built Bar is bringing to you. You friends with Santa? Tell Santa to throw a few Built Bars in those stockings. They make a terrific stocking stuffer. I'm serious. A great stocking stuffer. Throw them in there. Marshmallow flavors, chocolate. I mean, this is what the holidays are all about. Plus, you get the protein, the low calorie, low fat, and the high in fiber. Go to built.com and use promo code LOCKS15 to get 15% off your order. That's built.com with the promo code LOCKS15 to get 15% off your order. All right, we are going to be back tomorrow. Plenty more to get to as we move through this bye week for the Packers. We are still going to have our live show. 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern on YouTube. Go subscribe on YouTube. We will see you there. I had it all set for the live on Sunday, and then they'll use the wrong link. Unbelievable. Use the wrong link. So there are people going, we're waiting. What are you doing? And they missed it. But hopefully you found it. And we'll be there on Friday, not on Sunday. Monday show as normal in your podcast feed, but the YouTube show will not go up until Monday morning. Because why? I guess we could just come and hang out, but we're not going to do that. You deserve a break. I'm gonna hang with my family. I would love it if you did the same. But let me know how you're spending your bye week. Hit me up. Let me know how you are spending this Packer bye week. Something that you want to let me know about with the Packers along with it. Would love to hear from you. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers. And anytime you want to hit us up on the Locked On Packers fan hotline. And I did hear from my guy who was not listening or was not hearing the intro quite right. And he let me know, hey, my bad. So I appreciate that. I see you. I hear you. I love all the messages that I get from you guys. The Locked On Packers community is the best. And I didn't say this last week and I should have. I am thankful for you guys and for what we have here. Every time I get in front of the microphone, I am reminded of what an amazing audience that you guys are. And you should subscribe on YouTube right below. If you like it, do that. And anytime you want to hit us up on Locked On Packers Fan Hotline, you can do that, 920-341-3775 to stay Locked On Packers.